What's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to a mock draft reaction video from Kevin O'Connor that is part of the Ringer Network. So yeah, today we're going to be reacting to Kevin O'Connor's mock draft. He's probably, he's their biggest NBA guy or their biggest NBA analyst, because obviously you got like Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo over there, but it's really Kevin O'Connor that does really more of the technical stuff and the NBA analysis side. So we're going to be reacting to his mock draft today, and it's a good one. I mean, I respect what Kevin O'Connor has to say. I respect his NBA opinions, so I'm very excited to jump into this today. Like always, I will leave a link to this article, or his mock draft in the description below if you want to take a look at it. He also has his big board, and they have a couple other stuff up there as well. So I don't know if it's a 2-round mock draft or a 1-round mock draft, but either way we'll get into this. So start off the bat, excuse me. We have Cade Cunningham at number 1, and we have Jalen Green at number 2. Just kind of what we expect to see at number 1. Number 2 is a little bit different. Don't really see 100% Jalen Green at 2. It's pretty much between Jalen Green or Evan Mobley. I believe Jalen Green should be the pick. I'm a big Jalen Green guy. I'm a big Jalen Green believer. But it could be Evan Mobley. You can't go wrong with either one of the picks, in my opinion. I think at the moment it's still going to be Mobley, but stuff can change. We're going to hear reports. Stuff will change. So we have Cunningham at 1, Jalen Green at 2. Next up, we have Evan Mobley at 3. Makes sense if you have Jalen Green at 2. Let's keep moving on. Don't really need to go on that too much. It'll just be interesting to see if Evan Mobley's there at 3. Do they look at trading the pick? Maybe down to Orlando at 5 and get 5 and 8, and then maybe Orlando goes up and gets Evan Mobley? Or do they maybe take Evan Mobley? Do they try to run Mobley and Jared Allen? Do they take Mobley and not re-sign not resign Jared Allen? That could be a possibility. Next up at 4, we got Jalen Suggs to Toronto and Jonathan Kuminga at 5 to Orlando. I've talked about that a lot in my mock drafts. I think that's what's going to happen. So it's I think those could potentially be locks at 4 and 5. I think Cade's a lock at 1 to the Pistons. Suggs is a lock at 4 to the Raptors. Kuminga's a lock at 5 to the Magic. But it's really just what's going to happen between the Rockets and the Cavs. I think it'll be Green and Mobley will be 2 and 3. It's just in what order will they go in. So number 6 and 7, we have Scotty Barnes and Davion Mitchell. Looking like my mock draft now. Okay. All right. So you got Barnes and Mitchell. I love those fits. I've been mocking that a ton. Pretty much very similar to what my mock drafts have been so far. So next up, we have picks 7 and 8. Or excuse me, 8 and 9. We have Franz to the Magic and Keon Johnson to the Kings. Been mocking a little bit of that. I've kind of had a little bit of Keon Johnson to the Magic and then Jalen Johnson to the Kings, but I've definitely mocked Keon Johnson to the Kings. And I think I had Franz Wagner once to the Magic, but I haven't been full on board of that. But I actually do love that fit, and I think the Magic will go Franz Wagner. Just they would have Wagner and Kuminga. Honestly, that's a pretty good draft. I would like that a lot for them. Keon Johnson at 9. I think the Kings could, if Wagner's there, they're taking Wagner. If not, I prefer Jalen Johnson over Keon Johnson for them, but gotcha. Next up, we got Corey Kispert 10 to the Pelicans. Mocked out a ton as well. Give Zion Williams some spacing out there, and I think that would be a good fit. And then Jalen Johnson to the Hornets. I don't know if I've mocked that yet. I've mocked Alperen Sengun. I've mocked Moses Moody. I've mocked Corey Kispert. I've even mocked Franz Wagner before, but I don't think Wagner actually falls out of the top 10 now. So Jalen Johnson, I think that's great value. I'd be very upset if I was like San Antonio and miss out on Johnson, or even the Warriors as well. Next up, we have Alperen Sengun to the Spurs. I actually just recently did that in my my mock draft for Crispy Flakes. And then Josh Giddey to the Pacers at 13. I have mocked that so many times. So yeah, it's a little bit similar to what my mocks have been so far. And yeah, I can see who he's going to have the Warriors taking at 14. A little bit of a preview on my screen. And I'll disagree with that. But Sengun to the Spurs, I'm definitely cool with them getting it big. I mean, they had Pirtle under contract for a couple years, but I don't think he's the long-term franchise guy there at the 5. And it could be Sengun, and we know how much the Spurs love their foreign big men. So next up, we have 14. Usman Garuba to the Warriors. Not a fan of that. I don't think he's really a win-now type of player. I mean, they have Green, they have Wiseman, they have Looney, they have Pascal. Will he be better than any of those guys next year to get majority minutes? I don't think so. So if I were them at 14, I'd like a Moses Moody. I'd like a James Bouknight. And if I were to go a big man, I'd prefer Kai Jones out of anybody else, even over Alperen Sengun for the Warriors. So I do disagree with that a little bit. Next up, we have Moses Moody at 15. I like that a lot. I think they should go Kai Jones if that is the available pick. But I wouldn't mind them taking just kind of the highest potential guy there with Moody, who I think should be a lottery pick. And I'd be very shocked to see him not go in the lottery. So at 16, we have the Thunder taking Kai Jones. Mocked that before as well. I love that. I think Kai Jones is Probably he's my second big man in this draft. I mean, Sengun's such a wild card, though, because, like, we don't really know how his game's going to translate over to the pro level, coming from overseas in Turkey. Like, Mobley's obviously the consensus #1 big. Like, I'm not counting Kuminga as a big, or, like, Fogner or Jalen Johnson. And then next up, I would have Kai Jones over Alperen Sengun. Then we have Zaire Williams. That's the highest I've seen him to the Grizzlies, and I actually don't like that fit at all. I think he's somebody that's a little bit raw and will need a little bit of time to develop. So, I think there's way more NBA-ready players that they could take at 17, like a Jared Butler, like a Trey Mann, like a Chris Duarte, like a Trey Murphy. So, not a fan of that pick there at 17 for the Grizzlies. If they were maybe to look at a backup big, you still have Isaiah Jackson on the board if you're going to go maybe a raw prospect, and somebody that will need time and is a developmental player, you know. I do like Zaire Williams a lot, but for the Grizzlies trying to be in the playoffs, I don't know if he's going to crack playing time in his first year. Like, I'd like to see him go to the Rockets at like 23 or 24. Then we got Sharif Cooper going to the Thunder at 18. Okay. Yeah, I think I would take Sharif Cooper over Trey Mann if I were the Thunder looking to take another guard. But, I mean, they already have Kai Jones and Scotty Barnes, so they should go maybe a wing or a guard here. So I like Cooper. I also like James Bouknight or Trey Murphy to them at 18. 19 and 20, we have the New York Knicks taking James Bouknight. Could be behind that. I mean, I also am a fan of Isaiah Jackson potentially here at 19. I think that's a good value pick with Nerlens Noel most likely not coming back. I like them maybe going a point guard if they're not going to go in the route of Lonzo Ball, and they maybe look at Jared Butler or Trey Mann. But I would also be a huge fan of them getting Bouknight at 19. I really love his scoring potential there in the NBA. So, fan of that. And then Springer to the Hawks at 20. A little bit higher on Springer. I'm not a little bit high. I think that's a little bit high in this mock. I think I prefer Trey Mann and Jared Butler at those, or at 20 if I were the Hawks. And I think they should go with a point guard there. And there'll be plenty of options, those three guys that I'd mentioned, including Springer. 21, we have Cam Thomas going to the Knicks. Disagree with that if you're going to have Bouknight go to them at 19. I think at 21, you have a perfect opportunity to take Isaiah Jackson or Trey Mann, so you do one of those. So I disagree with them taking Cam Thomas, but I guess maybe they don't bring back Burks and or Bullock, so then they replace them with young guys like Thomas and Bouknight. Just not a fan of that. I think they can go for more of a bigger wing out there, because they would have quickly Thomas, RJ, Bouknight. It might get a little cluttered there, so I would prefer them maybe to go after a Trey Murphy or Isaiah Jackson or a Trey Mann if they're going to go a point guard. Next up, we have the Lakers getting Chris Duarte. Mocked out a ton. Love the fit. Could really use his shooting there. 23, Isaiah Jackson to the Rockets. Would love them to go some developmental guys there. So, like Isaiah Jackson, perfect value. We'll see if he falls all the way to 23 or if a team looks at his intangibles and is like, all right, he needs to be, like, we have to take him highly in this draft. Could be a potential option. But love that pick to the Rockets if he's available there at 23. And then 24, we have them taking Trey Mann. Also love that pick as well. I think, yeah, like if Trey Mann falls to 24, and which I don't think he does. I think he could be a lottery pick. I think if the Warriors maybe don't take a point guard at pick 7, they could look at Mann at 14, 100%. So he's got Mann going 24 to the Rockets. 25, Greg Brown to the Clippers. I like Jared Butler there. I'm a fan of Jared Butler at 25. I'm a fan of Trey Murphy at 25 as well. Greg Brown, not a huge fan, but I guess Ibaka could potentially be gone. Could look to be a replacement down the line. Okay, honestly, don't know much about Rokas Jokubaitis. I'm definitely butchering his name, so I'm not going to say it again. I'm just going to call him Rokas. So that's an interesting pick. Can't really say much about him to say if I agree or disagree. But, yeah, he's going to have to fix that Jamal Murray thing. But if they're going to take a guard, I still like Jared Butler as a potential pick there. I do. But if we're looking at his scouting report, looks like he was pretty good at shooting the 3. Solid free throw shooter. Good at, okay, not a great assist-to-turnover ratio. Playmaking and feel for the game. Okay. I'll have to watch a little bit of film on him if he might go in the first round. Butler to the Nets at 27 is an absolute steal. And I mean an absolute steal for them there. Yeah, I mean, that would be a great pick. JRE. Don't see a lot of him going in the first round. I mean, he's a 4 that can be a pick-and-pop guy. He's a good shooter. He's a smart defender like any guy coming out of Villanova really is. So, I mean, Nova stays in Philly is cool and all, but I don't think he's going to go in the first round. Shades of Daniel Marshall. Interesting comparison. Okay. Next up, we have Day'Ron Sharpe to the Suns. I mean, they're big in the 2020 draft. Jalen Smith hasn't really worked out a lot. They could go Miles McBride here. Trey Murphy still on the board. I think Trey Murphy, and I kind of liked, I mean, I wasn't a big JT Thor guy, but I'm starting to like him a little bit more to be, like, I mean, I like JT Thor now, I think, over Sharp and Charles Bassey. And then finally, Ayo Dosunmu going in the first round to the Jazz. They could use a playmaking one off the bench and then can maybe be Mike Conley's successor down the line. So that is it for his mock draft. I know I went kind of quick, but I kind of like giving that a quick analysis. I didn't know if there was going to be a second round on it. So, yeah, you can kind of filter by position. I wonder what his big board's actually looking like while we're here. Cade, he's got Mobley. He's got Suggs in front of Green. Like, for me, I have, like, I'll put my big board out, but I have Cunningham, and then I have Green, then I have Mobley, then I have Suggs, and then Kuminga. Then he's Keon Johnson. Okay, I'm a fan of Scotty Barnes with my 6th player. Then he is Mitchell, Wagner, Sengun 9, Kai Jones 10. Damn, Barnes 11, Jalen Johnson 12. Okay. So he's got a different mock. I just wonder if there was any surprises. Not really anything here. He just has Jamar Robinson Earl a little bit high. And I think Rokas, I mean, I would have to watch him to really make an assumption. But yeah, that is going to be it for my reaction. I hope you guys did enjoy. Drop a like if you did, and let me know what you guys think down below. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.